Dajang arrives at work and sees a gift on her desk. It's a pretty pair of heels, neatly placed and catching her eye. Beside them is a note that reads, "I became your fan after seeing how confident and brave you are. I hope there's only sunshine and rainbows in your future. From your number one fan." She reads the message again, feeling a quiet mix of surprise and warmth. Someone had taken the time to notice her strength and leave this kind gesture. Curious, she tries on the shoes. They fit perfectly, as if made just for her. We go back to days, to the night when Jihoon and Daeyoung confronted each other over Dajang outside Dukjin's office building. Daeyoung happens to overhear Jihoon telling Dajang that even a divorce can be a new beginning. He immediately makes his presence known with a loud interruption. Dajang steps aside to take a phone call, leaving the two men facing off, tense and awkward, silently debating who should walk away first. Daeyoung takes offense at Jihoon's tone, ready to argue. Jihoon, missing the point entirely, hilariously assumes Daeyoung is just a fan of his rival team. Dajang returns, cutting through the tension. Jihoon offers to drive her home, but she politely declines, saying she's more comfortable taking the bus. Daeyoung, standing nearby, can't help but grin in quiet satisfaction. She only takes a few steps before her heel suddenly breaks and she falls to the ground. Both Jihoon and Daeyoung rush over to help, but it's Jihoon who reaches her first. He gently helps her to her feet and offers to take her to the hospital. While Dajang is being checked at the hospital, Daeyoung takes her broken shoes to a cobbler. The cobbler manages to fix them but says it would be better to just buy a new pair. Before leaving, Daeyoung also buys a pair of pink slippers. At the hospital, Dajang is fine, but Jihoon gives her a gentle lecture, asking her to accept his help more easily in the future. Then, he gives her a pair of sneakers and kneels down to carefully put them on her feet, telling her to be careful until her ankle fully heals. When Daeyoung arrives at the hospital, he notices the new shoes on Dajang's feet. Quietly, he hands her the repaired heels. She looks at him and apologizes for supposedly putting him in an awkward spot by making him act as proxy at the courthouse. Then, without saying much more, she gets into Jihoon's car. Daeyoung watches her leave, feeling alone and helpless, unable to do anything to change the situation. When Daeyoung arrives at Dukjin's office, his reaction to the Jihoon autographed jersey isn't nearly as grateful as Dukjin had hoped. Instead of being excited, Daeyoung looks unimpressed. Their banter quickly escalates into a shouting match, with both of them cursing each other out, leaving Dukjin's assistants shocked and scandalized by the scene. Meanwhile, Dajang asks Jihoon to take her back to the JBC office since she's on night duty. Jihoon agrees and mentions he's relieved to hear that Xia is doing okay, especially after Dajang had to rush to the hospital. But when he casually adds that Xia must be as beautiful as her mother, Dajang grows concerned. It sounds like the kind of smooth line a player would use. Jihoon then opens up a little, telling her that he used to think he understood what women liked, but now there's one woman he just can't figure out. Dajang feels a flicker of worry that he might be talking about her, but she doesn't show it. Instead, she calmly tells him that women can sense when a man genuinely cares about them. If he just shows that he truly cares, she says, the woman will eventually open her heart. After dropping Dajang off, Jihoon goes home to his daughter, Seoyeon. He tucks his little girl into bed and smiles proudly at a picture she drew. But when he sees a drawing of her mother, dressed in nurse's scrubs, his smile fades and worry shows on his face. At the same time, Erin is working late. She carries an armful of papers through her building's lobby, complaining loudly. Suddenly, one of her shoes breaks and she stumbles, flinging the papers into the air. Just before she falls, someone catches her. They freeze in a dramatic pose, and Erin realizes it's Woo-young, the man she's been quietly crushing on for some time now. Feeling uncomfortable, Dae-young says he can't stay like that and helps Erin stand up. He starts picking up the scattered papers, but Erin, speaking coquettishly, insists she can do it herself. Dae-young shrugs and walks away. Then, he turns back and gives her the pink slippers he bought for Dajang. Erin, however, takes the gift much more romantically than Dae-young intended, feeling hopeful about what it might mean. Xia is at school, rushing to turn in a late assignment. As she moves through the hall, she runs into Jiho. He offers to go with her to the teacher's office to sneak the assignment into the teacher's file. But when they get there, the cabinet where Xia needs to drop off the paper is locked. She tries rattling the doors and accidentally knocks a box of heavy textbooks loose. The box falls toward her head, but Jiho quickly catches it just in time. He carefully puts the box back and opens the cabinet. Just then, they hear teachers approaching, so Xia pulls Jiho into the cabinet with her. They are pressed close together, almost forgetting to be scared because of how near they are. One teacher almost opens the cabinet door, and Xia reflexively grabs Jiho's hand tightly. When it's finally safe to come out, Jiho pauses for a moment, needing to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Dajang is getting ready to spend the night in the JBC night duty room. Here, anchors take turns sleeping in case a breaking story comes in late. She's sharing the room with Choi Jina, a friend of Wayumi, who makes sharp remarks about Dajang's lack of formal education and experience. Jina acts like Dajang only got the job because of luck, making the tension in the room clear. In the middle of the night, they get a call about an apartment fire. Quickly, they jump into the broadcast van to cover the story. On the way, Jina once again mentions how lucky Dajang is to be with someone experienced, saying Dajang would have made a mess of things alone. Jina sounds so sure of herself that it's satisfying for Dajang when Jina suddenly realizes she left all her makeup back at the station. When they arrive at the fire scene, Jina borrows some makeup from an anchor at another station and starts applying it frantically. She refuses to begin the broadcast until her face is perfect. Meanwhile, Woonki is waiting back at the station, growing impatient. Finally, the cameraman tells Dajang to go ahead and start announcing. Woonki is surprised to see Dajang on camera, but she delivers the important information about the fire with poise and accuracy, as always. When the broadcast ends, Woonki asks how many captions they received, because more captions mean better ratings, and is amazed to hear they got a record-breaking 12 captions. Even Jina quietly admits to herself that she was right when she told Dajang that success requires skill. And Dajang just proved she has those skills. Later, Dae-young is out for an early jog when he spots Dajang on the JBC jumbo screen. He smiles proudly to himself, remembering how he once caught Dajang practicing breaking news broadcasts at home and how she explained that anchors are judged by how many captions they get. The next day, there's a meeting at JBC where the breaking news story comes up. Woonki smiles as he talks about their 12 captions, and several other directors praise Dajang for staying calm and doing well under pressure. Wonki says the field team told him that while Gina was busy putting on makeup, Dajang was talking to firefighters and police, gathering important information about the fire. But director Moon is focused on the viewer comments, which still talk about the fact that Dajang is a divorced mother. He calls her an embarrassment. When Wonki tries to say that being divorced isn't embarrassing anymore, director Moon loses his temper and yells that an anchor's image is the most important thing. Later, Wonki tells Dajang that her baseball interviews will now be given to Vyumi, explaining exactly why. Dajang politely asks why she should have to be careful about her divorce. This makes director Moon storm over, yelling that her personal life is getting in the way of her work. He orders her to clean the storage room. While she is in the storage room, Dajang finds out she's also being dropped from another show she was supposed to join. Meanwhile, Dayang is riding his father's bus again when a motorcycle suddenly cuts in front of them, causing his dad to swerve. An angry passenger gets in his father's face, blaming him for bad driving. But his dad stays calm and asks the passenger to sit down again for everyone's safety. The angry man complains even louder, so Dayang steps in firmly. He tells the man that his behavior is more dangerous than the driver swerving to avoid another vehicle. Dayang orders him to get off at the next stop. The other passengers agree and back Dayang up. When his shift ends, Dad takes Dayang out for dinner to thank him for stepping in. Dayang asks if being a bus driver is hard, but Dad smiles and says every job is hard in its own way. During dinner, Dad accidentally spills some food down his shirt and grumbles that it was a gift from his daughter-in-law. He goes to the restroom to clean the shirt. As he works on it, he thinks about how Dajang once apologized in person for divorcing Dayang. He had told her she didn't have to visit him anymore, but she still sent him the shirt as a birthday gift. He can't fully clean the stain, and it's clear that it hurts him to have ruined what may be the last gift he'll ever receive from Dajang. Later, Dad sends Dajang a text to thank her for the shirt. Dajang remembers how he came to visit her after the twins were born, bringing seaweed soup, a healing meal for new mothers. He apologized for making her life harder and quietly gave her an envelope of money, asking her not to tell Dayang. Dayang finally calls Dajang to apologize for not showing up at the courthouse for their divorce hearing. He says he knows she has kept in touch with his father, and Dajang answers shortly that it's because he's family. She tells Dayang that his father apologized to her for the mean things he said in the past and that he secretly helped them, but now it's Dayang's job to take care of him. Later, Dayang watches sadly as Dajang walks home from the bus stop. It starts to rain, so she opens her umbrella. Then she sees him standing there, getting soaked. She tries to give him her umbrella, but he insists on walking her home first, then taking it. He drops her off at her door and thanks her for always caring, but she doesn't understand the true meaning behind his words. The next morning, Shia notices the sneakers Jihu gave Dajang and comments that they're an expensive brand. Dajang calls Jihu and says they're too expensive for her to accept. Jihu sees a chance and tells her to bring them to the stadium later. That afternoon, Jihu is surprised when Vyumi shows up for a scheduled interview instead of Dajang. Vyumi tells him that Dajang is on everyone's bad side at JBC because she got divorced and damaged her reputation. Annoyed by her attitude, Jihu asks if divorce should really hurt someone's reputation. Vyumi snaps back that Dajang probably got divorced because she has an issue. As a fellow public figure, Jihoon tells Vyumi, reputations fall apart faster from saying the wrong things than from getting divorced. For some people, divorce is big news, but for others, it's a serious life decision. I just worry that when you say things like that, it might hurt your own reputation. With that, he walks away, having politely but firmly put Vyumi in her place. Outside the high school, Shivu sees Daeyoung using sign language to help a hearing-impaired woman find the teacher's office. Impressed, Shivu mentions that, but then remembers they have a math test tomorrow. So he invites Wooyoung to his house to study together. Excited to go home for a little while, Daeyoung brings a box of dried persimmons as a gift. Shivu says that no one in his family likes dried persimmons, and Daeyoung mutters quietly, "You don't know." Then Daeyoung notices the sink full of dirty dishes and starts washing them, leaving Shivu confused. Daeyoung thinks back to a day when Dajang came home and found him lying on the couch, with trash and food scattered everywhere. He said he would clean up after the game, but Dajang turned off the TV and snapped that he never does housework. Daeyoung argued that he did half of it, but Dajang yelled back that it was more like 30%. Now, Daeyoung silently tells himself, pathetic. You didn't even do 30%. Shia comes home with Bobe to study, but she's not happy to see Daeyoung there, though Bobe quickly declares him husband material. They all sit down to watch TV first and turn on the baseball game, squealing over Jihoon Oppa. Daeyoung scolds them, saying Jihoon is too old to be called Oppa, and warns them to watch out for men who look like him. Suddenly, Daeyoung's phone rings. It's Dajang's mother. He hurries to another room to answer. She's upset that Daeyoung and Dajang divorced without telling her and says he hasn't apologized to her yet. Daeyoung promises to come and apologize in person as soon as he can. Before he can plan it, Dajang's mother walks in just minutes later to surprise the twins. The two of them jump back in shock when they see each other. Daeyoung quickly bows and apologizes loudly, then tries to hide his face. Dajang's mother looks at him closely, thinking he seems very familiar. Shivu steps in and introduces Daeyoung as his friend Wooyoung. Daeyoung takes the chance to slip away quickly. Before she leaves, Dajang's mother warns Shah to be careful around men who look like him. As Daeyoung leaves the building, someone watches from a distance and quietly takes photos of him. Dajang doesn't get to the stadium to return the sneakers until late, but Jihoon is still there waiting for her. He asks her to help him practice and sets her up as the batter while he gently pitches the ball. It takes some coaching before Dajang finally connects with the ball, and she screams with excitement. Jihoon grins at her happily. He tells her that all it takes is to keep trying, and eventually you hit the ball. Whether it's a strike, a ground ball, or a home run, the important thing is just to swing. Dajang guesses he's acting this way because Vyumi has been gossiping about her. She admits she thought everything would be easier once she got the anchor job, but working at a company is harder than she expected. She says she's okay but feels bad for her kids and sometimes worries she's being too ambitious. Jihoon asks why being ambitious is bad. He tells Dajang that he has often been ambitious too, and it helped to have people who believed in him, just like her family believes in her. She thanks him, and he jokes that he's her #1 fan. That reminds Dajang of the note that came with the pretty heels, signed by your #1 fan. Jihoon then says he needs to tell her something, but a phone call suddenly makes him panic. Dajang asks what's wrong, and Jihoon quickly says, my daughter is missing, before rushing off. While driving, Ji-hoo gets a call from the police asking if he's Ye Seo-yeon's guardian. Thankfully, she's been found safe. At the police station, Ji-hoo finds Seo-yeon crying. The officers explain that she was discovered outside a hospital, holding a photo of a woman, her mother. Seo-yeon had been looking for her mom at the hospital where she works. The police recognize Ji-hoo and curiously ask how he knows Seo-yeon. He replies that he's her father, not realizing that one of the men in the room is a reporter lurking nearby, hoping for a scoop. As Ji-hoo leaves, carrying his daughter, the reporter secretly snaps photos of them together. The next day, as Dajung heads into work, she sees the breaking news about Ji-hoo and his daughter flashing across the jumbo screen. Speculation is everywhere about who the girl's mother could be. Elsewhere, Seo-yeon's mother nervously redirects her current husband's attention away from the TV news. Dajung texts Ji-hoo, asking if he's okay and saying she's worried for both him and Seo-yeon. At the high school, Il-kwon approaches teacher OK and offers her a ride home. She politely declines, and he backs off with a smile, but the moment she's out of earshot, he mutters bitterly that she must think she's some kind of queen. Not far off, Dukjin is also waiting for teacher OK, this time with a huge bouquet of flowers and a request to talk. When she notices a limo parked nearby, she asks, shocked, if that's his car. Dukjin quickly denies it, then mutters into his smartwatch, abort the limo. He gathers his courage and officially asks her out, but she just as officially turns him down, lying that she already has a boyfriend. Poor Dukjin is crushed but accepts her answer respectfully. Il-kwon, who saw the whole thing and guessed what was going on, steps in pretending to let something slip. He calls her, my hyena, and then smugly tells Dukjin that he and teacher OK are secretly dating. Meanwhile, Aiden can't stop thinking about the handsome high schooler who makes her heart flutter. Curious and flustered, she calls Dajung, and the two meet up after work. Aiden carefully brings up a friend who has butterflies for a high school student. The moment she hears that, Dajung shudders in disgust, horrified by the idea of a woman their age liking a boy the same age as her son. At a cafe, Daeyoung finds Dukjin, who's sobbing over his broken heart. Dukjin cries that teacher OK is dating Il-kwon, and Daeyoung's version of cheering him up is to bluntly say he never had a chance with her in the first place. Dukjin wails, Hong Daeyoung, how can my own friend say that to me? Across the cafe, Aiden hears the name, Daeyoung, and immediately perks up. She listens as Dukjin continues sobbing, saying he should have been the one who got younger. Daeyoung replies bitterly that it doesn't help him, he can't even tell Dajung who he really is. Shocked, Aiden walks over to their table and stares at Daeyoung, dazed. Wooyoung, you're Hong Daeyoung, she says aloud. Daeyoung slips up and calls her, Airina, and in his panic, he can't think fast enough to cover it up. Just then, Dajung arrives and tells Aiden she needs to leave because Ji-hoo wants to talk. But Aiden stops her, looking serious and emotional. She says dramatically, I have something to tell you. Additional scene. We see Daeyoung at a shoe store, carefully picking out the pretty heels and sending them to Dajung, signing the note as her #1 fan. Meanwhile, at home, Dajung notices small changes, her burnt-out porch light has been replaced, the dishes have been washed, and someone has left her favorite dried persimmons. She wonders aloud who could have done all of it. In voiceover, Daeyoung speaks. There are things you want to give, even when it's impossible. Looking back, they weren't anything grand. They were so small and insignificant, you barely thought they mattered. But it's those small things that make someone smile. I finally understand that. Just then, Dajang is surprised to see her mom at the house. She assumes it was her mother who did all those thoughtful things for her. Dayang's voice continues, I can't share how I truly feel, not anymore. It's too late. But if those small things bring a smile to your face, then that's enough for me.